Hello and welcome to my Age of Wonders 4 guide. The guide today will be based around this unit, the Ancestral Warden. It is the tier 3 unit for the Primal culture, and the thing that is interesting about this unit is it's the only tier 3 racial polearm unit. And being a polearm unit, it has a few special bonuses. First of all, it has first strike. When it's being attacked, it uses its retaliate before the enemy gets to attack it, which is nice. And much more importantly, it has charge resistance. So usually when you're hit by a shock unit, such as like Cav, you are not able to retaliate and you lose your defense mode. But for units with charge resistance, they don't have that happen to them unless they're attacked by a unit with heavy charge strike. And due to the recent update, the only units that have heavy charge strike are the giant units, which are extremely rare to see, so you pretty much won't ever be seeing them. So once this unit can't really have its retaliates cancelled very easily. And it also gets 40% damage against Cav and large targets, which is pretty much every unit you're going to be facing in the late game, so that's very nice, of course. And as for its abilities, it's of course got its melee strike, and it's also got this really nice ability, Primal Lunge. And so it's basically an AoE ability, and it's got a range of 3, so it's sort of like a mini blink. You can use it to dive the back line or to like close the gap up to an enemy, and you jump to the hex, you deal the 20 damage to everybody in an AoE. And a very nice thing about this ability is when you use it, you also are ending your turn in defense mode. So now that I've explained the unit, let's go create our faction. Alright, so for our racial traits, we want to pick up Bulwark, which will double the bonuses from being in defense mode, and also Ferocious, which will increase our damage from retaliation attacks, and also Cold-Blooded as our last point to reduce morale loss. We obviously want to take the Primal culture to get access to this unit, and for our animal, I recommend the Tunneling Spider, because it gives a lifesteal bonus, and also it has a very good special province improvement research post that gives a lot of research. If you don't want to play underground, you can pick one of the other ones. Just make sure you have enough affinity to get the tomes that I want you to take. And I took 2 Materium Society traits. You can kind of take whatever you want, but again, make sure you have enough affinity to get the tomes. Our first tome is the Tome of Roots, and the rest of this, it doesn't really matter, just pick whatever you want. Alright, now on to our tomes. So for our first tome, we obviously got the Tome of the Roots, and then for our next tier 1 tome, the Tome of Cryomancy. This tome doesn't really synergize with the build in any specific way. It's just a strong tome overall. It gives a research post special province improvement, which is nice. Frostblades for some extra damage, and it gives 2 spells that are nice in the early game, and it'll give you another summon. For our next tome, the Tome of the Construct, this is a pretty crazy tome. It gives a lot of stuff for this build. So first of all, Compounding Defense. You get +1 defense and resistance on our polearm units, which is pretty nice to have. Linked Minds will give hyper awareness, which makes you immune to flanking, and it also makes it harder for you to get distracted. The real bonus of this spell is not really that. It's that it makes your units count as constructs for the purpose of these 2 spells, Cascading Command Defend and Cascading Command Reposition. And so for this spell is extremely strong. So what it does is you just line up all your units so they're touching each other, and then you can use it and it will activate on all your units. It will give them hastened, which maxes out your move speed, and it also gives you an additional retaliation attack, and it also gives you a stack of strengthen for 10% damage. And this is on your entire unit, your entire army, for the rest of the fight. So, and it only costs 25 casting points, so it's very strong. And this is Cascading Command Defense. This one's a little bit harder to use because you need to keep all your units next to each other when you're fighting, but you can use it to have your units like attack, and then after they're done attacking, you can use it and they all go into defense mode, which is pretty nice, especially since we get double the bonus from defense mode because we have bulwark. There's also the worker construct nexus. If you're going to build this, try and build it next to the research posts you have, because I think research is the best resource in the game pretty much. Our other tier 2 tome is going to be Tome of the Glades. It gives us leaf skin, which is a +1 resistance, which is nice, I guess, and it makes you move faster on forests. But the real reason we're getting this is Aspect of the Root. It will give all your polearm units Aspect of the Root, which allows you to heal 30 hit points and enter defense mode. So of course our defense mode is stronger from bulwark, and also we do a lot of damage through retaliation attacks. So even if we're wasting a turn healing, it's not as big of a deal because we'll be doing a lot of damage during the enemy's turn. For our first tier 3 tome, the Tome of the Transmutation, this gives transmutation circles. These basically give you a magic material of your choice and they count as a mine. These are super good, so I recommend building them. You get transmute resources, which basically just converts your mana to gold, production, and food. And you'll probably have a lot of excess mana, so this is a nice spell to have. Steel Skin, you get 2 defense, 2 blight resistance, and -2 lightning resistance, so this is also nice to make you a bit tankier. And this one's really good. Adaptive Armor, so every time you're taking magical damage, you get a stack of bolstered resistance, so you'll be taking less magic damage overall. And more importantly, you get status resistance, and each stack of this gives 2 status resistance, not 1, and it stacks up to 5 times, so this can give you a total of 10 status resistance overall. And this is really important because tier 3 units have a lot of advantages, like they're cheap, they don't cost Imperium, you can get a lot of like racial transformations and unit enhancements on them, but their big vulnerability is that they have very low status prediction. They only have, I think, 3 status resistance. So if you're heavily reliant on tier 3 units, anything that gives you status resistance is very good. So for our next tier 3 tome, we got the Tome of Vigor. We're mostly getting this for super growth. It gives you 10 hit points, 1 retaliation attack extra, and decreased number of units in formation. If you don't know what this last part does, it basically, when your units are injured, they are going to do less damage, and this will lower the penalty to damage from your units being injured. And then there's also Summon Greater Animal, which it'll probably be useful. You can just summon them if you need extra units without going back to your city. For our tier 4 tome, we're going to get the Tome of the Paradise, and this is mostly for Gaia's Chosen. Gaia's Chosen, it's giving you more status resistance, which is great, 20 health points, which is really nice, and you'll be turned into a plant. So 2 lightning resistance and -2 blight resistance. This will basically cancel out what we got from Steel Skin, which I think overall is a positive. And you also get -4 fire resistance. There's not much we can do about this, so hopefully you're not going against a lot of fire damage. And Forest Walk, I think we already have Forest Walk, so whatever. This is a pretty nice spell you can use. You can potentially distract all your enemies to make all your attacks flanking for extra damage. This will increase your economy a little bit. That's pretty much all we got for this tome. Next tome, Tome of Nature's Wrath. It'll give you the Devolve spell. This can be a great way to deal with like really scary tier 5 units in the enemy's army. You'll have a chance to turn them into a useless tier 1 animal, which is almost as good as killing them outright. And even if they're resisted, you can still stun them, so it's pretty nice if you've got like a really scary unit you're up against. There's also Summon Horn God. This unit's not like amazing for a tier 5 unit, but at least it's a summon spell, so if you take some casualties and you need like an extra unit to fill out your army without going back to base, this is a great unit to use. And the real reason we're getting this is Nature's Avenger. All friendly animals and plants within 2 hexes become 5 strengthened, so that's like 50% extra damage on pretty much your entire army, so make sure you get this on your heroes. And for our tier 5 tome, there's really only one choice, the Tome of the Goddess of Nature. So you'll get vision on all forests, you'll do some extra damage on all your units, and you have a spell that will heal and res units. These spells are kind of self-explanatory, so I won't really talk about this tome very much. Alright, let's see how this build performs in battle. For some reason the AI chose to build nothing but Chaos Eaters, which is pretty annoying, but whatever. Alright, so we haven't even really attacked anyone yet, and we've almost killed their Baylor and their hero just from retaliation attacks. Obviously this build would be a lot better if the AI didn't just build a bunch of mages that we can't retaliate against, but we'll still kill them anyways.